Selling your home is a really big deal, and according to our research, only 10% of people are looking to do so. Welcome to Real Talk, realestate.com.au's property news podcast. Today I'm at AREC on the Gold Coast to talk to experts about why seller activity has stalled. I spoke with a cross-section of real estate agents from all over the country to get their thoughts on what sellers are waiting for to list their property.
Price and simplicity. So start with the price, make it a strong one, remove all the uncertainty.
Essentially an aspect. I think that it's challenging these days to, obviously deposit requirements are bigger, interest rates are higher, cost of living pressures are going up.
If they're looking to sell a property, it's up to the agent to provide them insights and data, on what particularly is going around in their suburb and what has sold, what is potentially selling, what's on the market currently.
I'm joined today by Serge Petrichenko, Head of Market Research at REA Group, and Peter Florentzos from LJ Hooker in Sunny Bay with 23 years of experience in the property industry. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's really nice to meet you both. I wanted to start by looking at sellers' activity in market at the moment. So realestate.com.au listing data from April 2024 shows that there are actually more sellers in market than this time last year. Listings are up 32% nationally compared to April 2023. And across capital cities, listings are up more than 40%. However, a Resi Audience Pulse survey that we did shows that only 10% of our audience are looking to sell, yet 23% are looking to buy. So that's a disparity of 13%. So the research says that seller sentiment is significantly higher than this time last year, with 43% of people thinking that it is a good time to sell. Why is that?
So if you think about this time last year, there was that fixed rate mortgage cliff that everyone was talking about. And everyone was saying that people can't afford their repayments, the market was going to crash. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And you look now, interest rates, they're on hold. I think some economists are saying it's not going to move probably till next year. You look at the market, the listings are going up. Demand is still pretty strong. I think there's also a lot more stock on the market. So people, I think they're more confident that there's more options for them to be able to buy. And so you combine all that, confidence will go up.
I think something that also why seller sentiment might be up in market is because some property is just garnering outstanding prices. Peter, are you seeing people in your patch really being wowed by some of these property prices?
I never really focus on a price. I always focus on a process. And if you market the process properly, you'll get the price and get the result for the client. Brand new is a big thing. And if you look after people, money comes naturally. If you chase money, it doesn't come naturally. And if you get a great result, they'll call you.
Serge, what are the biggest barriers that the research found when it comes to selling?
There's a few. Selling, it's not like you're selling your old bike on Marketplace. Like, this is a huge life decision. And what we're seeing, there's kind of two categories. There's the practical barriers and then there's the emotional one. So if you think about the practical barriers, the big one right now is not being able to find a place that you can afford or that you like within your price range. That's number one. The second one is aligning the sale with the purchase of another property. The rental market is not helping right now. Like, rents right now are increasing. There's also this fear that you might not get a rental. If you buy something, you've also got to pay stamp duty. So you got all these barriers where sometimes I think people are just feeling it's a bit much. You're overwhelmed and I'm going to just park it, just wait. And that's just the practical. On top of that, you've also got the emotional barriers. And we know you're not selling a building, you're selling memories. You combine those practical with the emotional and, sometimes it's just all a bit much and overwhelming.
Peter, what do you think is the solution to some of those barriers?
It's a catch-22 because some people actually can't buy without selling, but won't sell without buying, because they want to have somewhere where to go. And I think another big barrier, to be fair, is real estate agents. Us not being knowledgeable, confident. Our job really is like a duck. For them, it's got to be nice and smooth on top of the water. All the turmoil under the water is us, because they've got their daily lives to deal with. Virtually a lot of times they just want to say, here's the problem, go solve it for us. But they've got to entrust to do that.
Serge, what are some of the prompts that the research showed that would make someone want to sell their property?
There's three universal ones that everyone talks about, and that's death, divorce, and debt. And they're the ones that you can't really control. The second is for investors. Like, that's a financial decision, maybe repayments, or it's time to make your gains. What do you guys think is the average age of a seller in Australia?
Early 40s.
Hey?
Maybe in their 30s.
So what we're seeing in the data, it's 50. And so then I kind of break it down. Why are people under 50 selling?
Are the 50-year-olds downsizing?
Well, yeah. So that's the thing. So if you're under 50, the reason they're selling is they're upsizing. They're looking for more space. They're relocating for schools. They're relocating for work. Maybe it's relationships, either breaking down or coming together, or the repayments are too much. So they're kind of the main things. And then I kind of think about, what are those people doing that are over 50? Why are they selling? And they're selling because they're downsizing or right-sizing. They don't want to maintain that property and the repairs. It's all a bit much. They're retiring. They're moving to retirement villages, or they just want to relocate to an area closer to their family, or maybe they want to move to the coast or somewhere that they've always wanted to move. It's kind of simplifying it, but why are those selling under 50 and over 50?
Well, some of the other things that the research showed about what would prompt someone to leave is, to your point about those right sizes, that was 23% of our audience survey said that's why they would downsize. 37% said it was for a lifestyle change, which in my mind, lifestyle change is so broad and it's quite a vague term, but it probably does encompass those 3 Ds that we spoke about: death, divorce, and debt. Effort in maintenance was 19%. To make the financial gains was 18%. Upsizing 18%. Retirement 16%. Change of investment, which I thought was interesting, was 11%. And capitalize on market came in at 14%. Do you think that every homeowner has a price, Peter?
Yes and no, because there's that famous saying, everything's for sale at a price. But if it's not your situation to sell, and you don't want to sell, because a lot of the times people buy and sell in the same district or the same suburb or surrounding suburbs. That's always been sort of the rule of thumb, 70-30 rule. 70% is local, 30% is the rest of the world. If someone came in with a ridiculous offer that was way over the top, well, you consider it. Flip side of that is when I always get agitated too when an agent rings up and says, I've got to buy for your property, because who's going to go give you $1 million when they haven't even seen it? They go to REA, they put in their name, their number, email address. Within 5 minutes, they're going to automatically get a reply back with all the information, from building and pest reports to title searches, auction contracts. Everything is supplied for them. They don't want to call us. So if you supply everything, they can turn up and just bid with confidence.
Serge, a stat that interested me out of the research was that 63% of potential sellers don't have a preferred agent in mind. Do you think that could be a possible barrier to sale? Like, what do people look for in an agent?
I don't think it's a barrier. If you want to sell and you're motivated to sell, you will find the local agent, the best one for you. I think it's more of an opportunity for agents that they don't have a preferred one, because we know people hold property for around 11 years. That's what the research. So it's been a long time since they purchased. And so they're open to doing their research and speaking and seeing who's selling in their street. In terms of what the research found and what people value, we went to 1,000 people that recently sold or are selling, and there were 5 big themes that came out. I'd be really interested in, Peter, your thoughts. The number one thing that was universal was sellers want an agent that really cares and just wants the best outcome for them. It's the ones that will make them feel like a top priority and they'll go above and beyond for them. That was number one across all segments, states. Number 2 was an obvious one. They want an agent that's going to give them confidence they're going to get the best price and set like they see the auction results. The third was around an agent that can provide a clear plan. So one that can maximize the value when they're preparing the property or with the trades, and then also maximize the marketing and the exposure. Fourth was around being responsive and transparent. Now that's, key customer service. The fifth one I thought was really interesting. It's about being the local expert. But the big thing within that is an agent that can show they've got a large pool of buyers or a big database network to show, hey, I've got good results, but I've got buyers ready to go. And those were the top 5 that, sellers really value. And, that's what they really want.
Would you agree with that, Peter?
Yes and no. The big thing is trust.
I did actually speak with a few people earlier today to get their thoughts on what they think is the most important thing for sellers to look for in an agent.
I think they look for somebody, obviously, in the area that knows their market really well. Mm-hmm. They're looking to be competitive in what they do, but they can add value to what they're selling for you.
Mm-hmm. It's all about trust. Trust is the number one type of thing.
So finding someone who's knowledgeable, who understands and has first-hand experience of living in the area and has that market knowledge.
Peter, what are your tips for a potential seller when they're looking for an agent? How can someone tell, yeah, this person's genuine?
Word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So results.
Mm-hmm.
A methodical process that you need to put into place, and whatever you say, you need to follow up with. If you tell someone you're going to
Who's this the agent needs to follow up?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. Fix your follow-up, fix your business. Agents, number one complaint of real estate agents, they don't get back to people.
So people should be looking for somebody who is responsive, number one.
Responsive, communicating. Tell them what they have to hear, not what they want to hear. A lot of people that don't want to go to our auctions and see how we operate, we just say, you okay to send up, we'll send you the link and you can watch the auction live. But I'd love for you to be there to follow our process and so you understand what we actually do for a living, and then go from there to maximise your situation. Because our job's to get the highest possible price out of the pool of buyers in the marketplace at the market time.
The research found was interesting. We asked people, how did you find the agent? Top of the list was, they said, previous experience. And then when we dived into it, it's not selling experience, it's actually buying experience. Just awesome agents go, hey, what'd you think? How'd you find it? And, you know, they stand out in my mind.
Whenever you're ready.
Can we just note we had an exchange of business cards just now? I think Serge found his agent.
I'd love to work with him.
There is quite clearly a bottleneck of buyers and not enough sellers from the research. What do you think needs to change to motivate people to sell?
I think it's confidence. Giving them the confidence that there is a lot of buyer demand at the moment. And that gives them the confidence that they will get a really good price and success if they decide to sell. I think that's them. And the other one is just letting them know that there's a lot of stock on the market right now, as we know, compared to a year ago.
Yeah.
So they've got more options if they want to buy. And also, I think aligning the sale with the purchase, like letting them know what those different options are, like Peter was talking about. Like you can have longer settlements, there's bridging loans, you know, there's lots of things. So I think that will help motivate people to sell.
What do you think, Peter, needs to change to motivate people to come to market?
Well, confidence is a big thing. Buyers are future sellers. Most sellers become future buyers. So it's a bit of a mix. Organisation, being organised. So to get your home sold, to maximise your situation, style it, tidy it up. Make sure it's always presented from a buyer's point of view, pre-organised with your finance. I provide building and pest inspection reports on every single property that I sell, because if they have to go pay $500 and miss out, $500 is out, you miss out on 8 homes, that's $4,000. I honestly believe we're in this for a very long time. Interest rates going up 13 times has nothing to do with it really, because 0% was not normal. Where we are at the moment, it's not normal, and it's going to find its happy medium in the next 6, 12, 18 months' time.
It sounds so simple, but it basically is to get more sellers in market, we need more stock for them to buy. Stock.
That's why, unfortunately, everything was inflated, because there was this undersupply of everything around the world.
All right, so more creative options for sellers is one thing to kind of get them to come to market. But thanks so much for coming on. I've found it really interesting to unpack how sellers are feeling emotionally and some of the barriers as well as prompts to getting them to list. But I really appreciate both of your time, so thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining me. This has been Real Talk. For your weekly fix, please follow wherever you listen to your podcasts and tune in next time for more real questions, news and insights on the topics that matter most from realestate.com.au, Australia's #1 address in property. All information provided is general advice and opinion based on current market conditions. These opinions should not be treated as investment advice. Always obtain advice based on your individual circumstances.
Real Talk acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, air and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present.